Hey boyos, what's up? It's Jake. We've got a state of play tomorrow, and I wanted to make some quick predictions. We know a couple things already from the initial blog post posted by PlayStation. We know it's on Tuesday, September 24th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. They also said don't expect any updates related to our next-gen plans in this episode. Meaning they're not going to talk about the PS5 at all. We also know it's going to be about 20-ish minutes revealing new games and PlayStation Studio games. I've got some notes, so let's just jump right into it. One thing we know for sure that they're going to talk about is Last of Us Part 2. They announced Last of Us Part 2 is having a media event the same day, and Naughty Dog made a post on their Twitter account saying that they will indeed be at the state of play. So, what does that mean? I have a prediction. My prediction is they're just going to show a trailer and they're going to end it by saying the release date of The Last of Us Part 2. I think that's as far as they're going to go. I think it's going to be a short trailer. I don't even think they're going to show gameplay. If they do, I think it'll really only be of the multiplayer. I honestly think they're going to end with this, which is a good call. But at this point, everyone knows that this is what they're going to be talking about, so they may just open up with it at the state of play. The second thing I think they're going to talk about for sure is Death Stranding. And when I say they're going to talk about it, I think they're just going to show a brief trailer. I think it's just going to be a short trailer. Because recently at Tokyo Game Show, they had an hour-long presentation where Kojima was playing Death Stranding. So we have had plenty of information. The game comes out in a month. So I think we're good, but just a short trailer, I think that's pretty safe bet. Another safe bet I'd say is Concrete Genie and Medieval. Considering both of those games come out next month, I think it's a safe bet to say that they'll be at the state of play. I think they're just going to be short trailers, much like I've said about everything else, honestly. Short trailers, and just, a reminder that, hey, these games are coming. So, PSVR, now this is something I'm not too sure of. Their last state of play was almost completely dedicated to PSVR. So, my guess is they're not going to talk about VR at all. I don't think they're going to even mention VR at this one. At the last one, they actually even got a lot of backlash for the amount of time they spent on VR. So I don't even think they're going to mention VR. That's what I honestly think. And if they do, I think it's going to be a quick mention to the Iron Man VR stuff. But I really don't even think they're going to talk about it. I think they're going to talk about a lot of third-party games. Maybe some games we don't even know about. From third-party developers, but I think an obvious one that they're going to talk about is Jedi Fallen Order. Jedi Fallen Order comes out really soon, and I haven't seen a whole lot of traction for it as far as marketing goes, so maybe this will start to be like their first push until the initial release of the game. I don't think it's out of the question for them to show a Final Fantasy VII Remake either. Knowing PlayStation's history with Final Fantasy VII, I think it's a pretty safe bet that Final Fantasy VII will be shown off a little bit at this state of play. Ghost of Tsushima. Now, I'm not too sure about this one. I think it's a possibility that they'll talk about Ghost of Tsushima, but I wouldn't bet money on it, let's just say. I think my prediction is they're not going to talk about Ghost of Tsushima at all. It is possible that they'll mention it, considering that we haven't seen it since that last E3, the initial launch trailer. I guess they have to start talking about it at some point, so maybe this will be a good time to talk about it. I don't know. And then I think they're going to spend a big portion of this thing talking about games we don't even know about. They have a lot of developers that we haven't heard from in a while. Like, Blueprint worked on the new Shadow of the Colossus remake, and they said it was the biggest remake or game that they've worked on. I don't think it's out of the question to see what they've been working on. There's probably all sorts of things that we'll hear about that it's impossible to predict. But the last thing, video games wise, I think they're going to talk about at this thing is Insomniac Games. And what I mean by that is they just bought Insomniac. They also just announced that they have the rights to Sunset Overdrive. So I think they're going to announce a Sunset Overdrive Definitive Edition. I also don't think it's out of the question to say a new Ratchet & Clank comes to the PS4 before the PS4 wraps up. But I think a Sunset Overdrive Definitive Edition is way more likely. So that's a big prediction for me. But I think ultimately what they're going to end with is, hey guys, we've got a big press conference coming up on blah 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 date. This is going to be their big PS5 event where they talk about all the details from the PS5, all the games coming to the PS5. Maybe they'll even call this event PSX. I don't know. I think it's going to be in February. We'll find out tomorrow. I'll talk to you guys then. Peace.